This is going to be a quick tutorial on how to do a simple round trenza. Braids can go ahead and be done in different colors, shades, and you can even add the flowers as shown. Hope you guys find this tutorial helpful, and please, if you guys have any comments or any questions, don't be afraid to go ahead and comment below. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with this tutorial. These are your materials. We are going to start by tying one of the ends of the yarn into the chair. As you can see, we're going to go ahead and then get started on looping it back and forth between the two chairs. The distance doesn't really matter, but it just depends on the length that you want your braid, but the length also depends on how round or how big your braid is going to be. Here, we are going to start by tying one of the ends of the yarn into the chair. The thickness of the braid really depends on the type of ribbon that you get, but for example here we're using a 1.5-inch ribbon, so we really need to make this braid thick enough so that the ribbon doesn't cover it all completely. Using our hands, we're going to do a quick combing over our ponytail. We then grab our ribbon, measure from top to bottom, but here we're going to add an additional 7 to 8 inches so it can be long enough and have additional ribbon in case we need it. Now we are going to tie this, so we tie it once at the top, bring it down to the bottom, tie it there, bring it back to the top, tie it once again, and we need this to be as tight as possible. Now we're going to grab our yarn and divide it into 3 different sections, as you can see here. Now for this braid in particular, we decided to go ahead and use 2 different color shades of teal. As you can see, we have the darker shade on the outside and the lighter shade on the inside. Now with this particular braid, we have to be really careful because we don't want to have any wrinkly ribbon, so we have to be extra careful. As you can see here, we have the 3 different sections of yarn and also the 3 different ribbons. So we're going to go ahead and start our braiding process. As you can see here, we're bringing our first section of yarn over, followed by the piece of ribbon. Now we're going to repeat the same thing over with the next piece of yarn. So we're going to go ahead and bring the section of yarn over, followed by the piece of ribbon. And then while doing so, we have to make sure that the pieces are not wrinkled. Once you have reached the end, we're then going to grab a 12-inch piece of yarn and we're going to tie it at the top, tie it again at the bottom, and tie it again twice at the top. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and take it out of the chair, cut the end, and as you can see, that's the ending process. What we are unfolding right now, putting apart, is our molote, which we're going to use to go ahead and measure the size of our braid. Now that we have an accurate measurement of our braid, we are going to trim both ends down about approximately maybe 0.5 inches. We are then going to cut 4 pieces of yarn around 12 inches long. We then go ahead and grab one pair, tie it to the bottom, tie it to the front, and then tie it at the bottom again. Make sure to please do a double knot, and we'll repeat the same step for the other side. Here we're going to go back and cut any extra pieces of yarn sticking out, and we're going to go back and trim the edges of the braid. For this following step, please make sure to preheat your glue gun. We are then going to place some hot glue on both ends of the braid and glue them together. Now we're going to add approximately 20 inches of ribbon around the section where the 2 ends were conjoined. Now to conceal the conjoining of the braid, we have our 20-inch ribbon, which we had already cut, and we are going to place some hot glue and glue it in the inside of the braid. Now we're going to start wrapping it around the braid, and then you will soon notice that when every single time we do a wrap, we're going to glue inside of the braid. You can always glue it inside with the ribbon as well, or put the glue in the ribbon, but I would suggest putting it in the braid itself. So we wrap around, glue, and then wrap around again. Now one quick thing to notice once we are finishing this up is that the very end of the ribbon, we want to make sure we glue it in the inside of the braid. Now, if you want to go ahead and add a flower to this or add multiple flowers, you can do so. You can always purchase your flowers either at the dollar store or at Michael's. Now the flowers are going to be glued on to the area where we used the additional ribbon to cover up the ends of the braid. Now when we place our flowers, we want to go ahead and make sure we place them in the center. We don't want them slanted either left or right. We want them right on the center. We have now reached the end of this tutorial. We hope this was a really helpful video for you all, especially for beginners. If you want to request a specific braid, please comment below and subscribe. Make sure to let us know what state and we will try our best to make it happen. Si desea solicitar una trenza específica, favor de dejar un comentario abajo